Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Callan-Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pass Road. And we do this every Monday morning. If this is the first time you've tuned in, it is a live show. It's a live call-in show. So our phone lines are on the screen there, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. If you have a question regarding health issues of any kind, please feel free to call in. This is the first Monday of the month, so this is what we call Open Line Monday, in which you can call in and ask any kind of questions regarding your health, because that's what this show is all about, is helping you lead a healthier lifestyle, no matter how old you are, because that is one of the things you start dealing with them at little bitty tiny babies.
Yep. That's when it starts going downhill.
As soon as you're out of the womb, it's
That's
like,
it,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah, it's. I know that you have some things that we have talked about that you can like dip the tip of your finger in and give to babies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've got things.
I mean,
A lot of stuff.
probiotics, things for the immune system. So there's things you can start as soon as you're born.
Well, in the past 8-9 years or something, since I've been under y'all's guidance, I probably have felt the best that I have felt since I was a kid.
That's good.
And
Good.
probably even felt better than I did then. Yeah, just it's amazing what it can do. But of course, it always starts out with the most important thing, and that's getting the proper blood work.
Well, I mean, that's a starting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, not as a baby, but you know.
Not necessarily.
Baby,
but,
no, not
yeah,
as a
hopefully.
baby.
Right.
But that is a starting point. You know, anytime take your car into they have to check something before they know what to do with it. Same thing with your body. If you start with some lab work to find out where you are, like for instance, if you're 35, 45, 55, 65, whatever, 75, 85, you want to know where you are, and you want to know metabolically where you are. That's the lab work. Blood work's going to tell you what's going on, and if there's anything wrong, if you dig deep enough. So if we
Right.
dig deep enough, we're going to find out. And then once you know what's wrong, you fix it.
But we have a lot of people that come in that, yes, they've had basic lab work, but they haven't had enough to show what the problems are, especially the people as they're getting older. I hate to say, is when they start complaining of something, or they say, I'm tired, or I can't hardly get up in the morning, they'll say, oh, well, you're just old. Well, that's not always, I mean, you don't have to feel bad. I have so many people that come in. We have people close to 100 that are still doing good. And that's because 10 years ago, when they were almost 90, they came in saying, they keep just saying, I'm getting old, that's my problem. And so we do lab work, we do it, change things to change the lab work, and they're doing good.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just take that as, well, I'm older, it's just gonna happen.
Gonna
there's no doubt.
peter away.
There's no doubt there's some conditions.
As my mother used to call it,
Yeah.
he's going to peter away.
There's some conditions
Something like
that are, depends on what the condition is.
Sure.
But just not feeling well just because you're getting older, there's usually something you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to call in at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713, and we'll be glad to pass the question along. The producer will answer the phone and you can give them your question. We do have some that were emailed into me, which, if you think of something after the show, you can do that. But someone said, I know that drinking water is beneficial, but can you drink too much water?
Well, you can do too much of anything.
Right.
Yes,
And there has been cases with contests and stuff where they make them drink so much water and then they end up dying. So you can drink too much. Now, what I always tell people is kind of half your body weight in ounces is kind of your minimum. Most people don't drink enough water.
Right.
I'd probably say I see way more people that drink not enough water than people that drink too much. So you want to drink your water, you want to stay hydrated. And people always say, how much should I drink? About half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150, drink 75 ounces a day. Yeah. So just kind of, that's kind of a rough estimate on what you should at least get in a day.
Well, if you go too much, and we've occasionally seen that over the years. We've actually seen some people do too much, a little bit of everything. You name it. After 42 years, I think I've seen pretty much whatever. Okay, But anyhow, you can do it. If you think about it, if you drink way too much water, you're going to dilute or get rid of a lot of your electrolytes and things like that, and the other nutrients that are just filtered out when you urinate.
Right, you start flushing out the nutrients when you get too much water,
Right.
especially sodium, magnesium, potassium. I mean, you have all your minerals. Minerals are known for that when you actually overhydrate.
Right.
Now,
Well,
underhydrate, you mess up your minerals too.
Yeah, that messes them up
So,
too.
yeah.
Well, and as we've mentioned in the past, y'all have mentioned that the largest organ in our body is dependent a lot on
Hydration.
Hydration.
Yes.
That's our skin.
That's the
Yes,
skin.
exactly.
And you always talk to these people that are older and look great and don't have as many wrinkles, and when you ask them what they do, they all say they drink a lot of water. So you do want to stay hydrated, no doubt, and the skin definitely needs hydration, but you can't overdo it. So
Yeah.
answer the question.
All right, got a question. My tongue is covered in a white fuzz. Should I be concerned?
Well, yeah, it's not good.
Most of the time, that is actually a yeast issue.
Yeah, it is. Almost always.
Right, exactly. So you can get something called candida, and candida actually will make white fuzz on your tongue, and they call it thrush, actually is what the name of the problem is. And sometimes it's after an antibiotic because it kills all your good bacteria. Sometimes it's just from eating too much sugar. Sometimes, so where it comes from depends on the person. A lot of times it is after an antibiotic, but actually the first thing you do is replace your good bacteria. Because if you don't have enough good bacteria, it cannot keep the yeast from overgrowing.
Right.
And so that is number one. And when people have thrush, I don't just have them take probiotics. I'll have them actually gargle and swish with it, then swallow it.
Yeah.
Even if it's in a capsule, open it up, put it in a little cold water and swish and then swallow.
Right.
Because it does actually help with
Direct contact.
direct contact. But normally, I always tell people, if you got it on your tongue, you got it everywhere else too.
Oh, it's everywhere.
That's just where you see. So it's just one of the places that you can actually see it. But if you have that, you know it's probably everywhere. So we usually do something called AF Essentials, which stands for Antifungal Essentials, which are natural nutrients and supplements that actually help kill and get down that yeast population.
Yeah.
And it even has stuff in it that actually helps the biofilm around it to
Right.
where the body can get rid of it.
Yeah.
Interesting,
So-
because as being a former horse owner, when horses get thrush, it's in their hoofs.
Well, that problem kind of thing, but it's
Yeah.
but it's a little different.
I hadn't
Yeah.
had horses, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, they
He has,
Wonderful.
but
They're wonderful. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
wonderful animals.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. This is Open Line Monday, so any questions you might have regarding your health, please feel free to pick up the phone and give us a call. We're going to take a break. It's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock here on this Monday. We'll be right back. And welcome back to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. It's Open Line Monday. Our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Have any kind of questions regarding health issues that you may be having or a friend or a loved one may be having, you can call us, pass the question along to our producer, and they'll be glad to pass it along to us. Another caller asked, are there any warning signs, early warning signs for early dementia?
There's a lot of things that but here's the problem. Normal forgetting where you left your keys or something like that, that's not necessarily a sign of dementia. People can get scattered. Stress, for instance, can cause short-term memory because it's not important. Where you put your keys, well, it's not important. So, but everybody kind of mistakes it for that. There are some signs and symptoms for early. One of the best things that I always tell anybody, if you're concerned about dementia, Alzheimer's, etc., there's a guy named Dale Bredesen. He's kind of the head of one of the big gurus at the University of California, San Francisco. He wrote a great book called The End of Alzheimer's. Read the book, buy it. I don't care where you have to go to get it. Buy it, read it. It'll tell. He's going to explain all the warning signs. He's going to explain what you do about those things. He's going to explain what you need to do lifestyle-wise. He's going to explain what you need to do functionally to actually keep your brain active and healthy. So it's a great book. It's probably one of the best resources.
And what was the name of it again?
the
It's
end of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and the
End
guy's
of
name
all-
is Bredesen, Bredesen, Dale Bredesen. Super guy, smart as, man, this dude's forgot more about the brain than most of us will ever remember. and he's pretty well lays it out and just common everyday language where everybody can understand it. He explains the problems. He explains the fixes.
He always, and he does stress that there's not one fix.
No.
That's why the medications aren't real successful, is because each one of them works on one thing, and that probably dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever you want to call it, is a combination of things, and it actually is multiple different problems, so that you have to look at all the different problems and then kind of see what's going on.
There are some great little memory games, mind games that
Yeah.
you can. I mean, everybody's
Oh, yeah.
got one of these nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
iPad, iPhone, or whatever, your own phone. Download one, Words with Friends, things like that. That makes you use your brain
Yeah.
to to figure some
That
of these
does make
things
a
out.
difference.
Yeah.
You've heard the old adage, if you've heard it all your life, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Oh yes.
Same thing with your brain. You have to use it. Now, I've watched so many people over the years literally stop using their brain.
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally stop using it. They don't have a hobby, or they don't read, or they don't do anything at all where they use their brain. And you really have to use a brain. You have to kind of stimulate it to make it function correctly.
And sitting in front of the TV does not
Is
use
not
your
using
brain.
your brain.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
that's-
it really doesn't.
That's actually throwing it out to pasture.
Okay, another question: is calcium really necessary for females?
Actually, calcium is necessary for everybody. If you really ask the question, you have to have calcium in the bloodstream. It acts as a buffer. So
Yeah.
when you start looking at what is calcium, that's one of its main things, is to keep the blood from getting too acidic. So it's necessary for everyone. Now, extra calcium and calcium supplementation is a different story.
The key to calcium, and I think this is, and there's been some studies that really kind of eye openers 5-6 years ago, quite a while back anyhow. And they came out and they said, they took, matter of fact, there was, I think it was about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, so you lose track of time. But since then they took a study and they took a group of women who took a bunch of calcium. And I have people come in all the time and say, my doctor told me to get 1,200 milligrams of calcium. And I tell them, it's way too much, dear. Way too much, because it's always
In
female
most
drug.
cases.
In most cases, it's way too much. And they go, well, that's what they told me to take. And the studies showed that those people that took 1,200 milligrams of just calcium had 30% more cardiovascular disease. Now, is that what you want to do? No. And the key is K2. That's the key. The K2, vitamin K2 is probably, and we've talked about it. If you've watched any of this show in the past, we've talked about K2. Calcium you can get. Green leafy vegetables, bone broth, stuff like that. You can get calcium pretty easily through the diet. K2, nah, it's hard to get. It's extremely hard to get because we don't have literally pastured pigs or grass-fed, grass-finished cattle anymore. Oh, they'll say they're grass-fed. Well, hell, all cows are grass-fed. Come on, think about it. But grass-finished is different, where the cow is finished on grass, then slaughtered for meat. Now you've got a potential to have some K2 in there,
Right.
in the fats. and
K2
so on.
used to be high in the yolks of an
Eggs.
egg.
Yeah.
But now, with the way that the chickens are fed,
Yeah.
they're not. It's not hardly there anymore. So the K2 is very important.
Very.
So there's a lot of things important for bone density. It's not just calcium.
Right.
Again, I tend to go by what the lab work looks like.
Exactly.
If the calcium, it doesn't even really matter what the calcium level is. The alkaline phosphatase is a different level. If I see it getting high, then what we'll do is we'll add calcium and then recheck it to see if it's coming down. If that happens, it's because the body has stopped pulling calcium from the bones. Because the body will pull calcium from the bones to put in the bloodstream if you don't have enough. So again, we go by lab work when it comes to calcium. We don't just blanketly say, oh, you have osteoporosis, take 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams a day, which is what everybody used to do. We don't do that. I have, and even when somebody looks like they're pulling it from the bone, I will have them start taking about 500 or 600 milligrams. And then let's recheck the lab work, see what it looks like, see where you are, and then go from there. So there really is, everybody's different, and so you don't just say all women need to supplement calcium, because that's not true. And I have some men that I'm like, man, you really need some calcium. And it's, we don't see it as much in men, but we do.
do see
and
it.
men can have bone loss as well.
Yeah.
But the K2 is essential. Vitamin D and K2 is essential on using your calcium properly.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, magnesium is important as well. But there's a lot of other important nutrients when it comes to that.
We had a caller calling with a question: what is a good medicine or natural substance to help with motion sickness other than Dramamine, especially when it comes to the vicious, chaotic, unpredictable, slightly mean winds and waves that are included at no extra charge on a seemingly delightful cruise? And I experienced that a couple of weeks ago myself.
Well, that's a good one.
But they actually have those bands,
Yeah.
and they do help.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that is totally natural. It ain't even something you have to take. Usually you can get it at most of the big box
Right,
stores. So
right.
that's one thing I
Yeah.
would definitely say are those bands.
Yeah.
We've got a homeopathic.
We do have a
that-
homeopathic thing.
and homeopathic is, putting it simply, give you a little bit of the hair off the dog that bit you, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. And it really works. We've used it for
Right.
years. I think they call it D29 or something.
It's called D29, and it used to be called Vertigen,
Yeah.
and now they changed the name, but it's not changed the substance. They now
Yeah.
call it stress relief, and I'm not sure why, because even on the back it says it's for
Motion
vertigo
sickness.
and motion sickness. So
But it
I don't
works.
know. But it does work. That's one of
Yes.
the things we will use for motion
Yes.
sickness, and like I said, and definitely get one of those bands.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. It's 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. We're going to take a break and come back with this week's special. And welcome back. It's our last segment this morning of our live show. So our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Let's go ahead and look at what our weekly special is.
Yeah, it's L-theanine. This is an amino acid that is fantastic for calming the brain down, but making you focus very well. We use
I
it
take
a
it.
lot. You take it.
I take it.
I got a lot. You know,
I take it.
Years
He
ago,
takes it.
years ago, we started out using it primarily on kids. Okay, because kids that can't stay focused, blah blah blah, attention deficit, so on, and we use it a lot for that. But over the years, we got a lot of adults that, well, geez, it worked really great on little Johnny. I think I'll try some. And sure enough, boy, they just love it. And even little Johnny grow up and out of this problem, and now they're still taking stuff. So it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the theanine, like I said, it's used for panic attacks.
Right.
It can be just used for focus. So you can use it for focus, panic attacks, and the good thing is it's so safe. And we do have it for kids. I mean, kids can actually take it. And so, like you said, we have a lot of kids take it, but we have a lot of adults take it.
Yes,
It
we
even
do.
tends to lower the stress hormone. So it is one of those things that, and they can't find, when you look at theanine, they can't find a lethal dose of it. They try. Almost everything, even water, has a lethal dose.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point. They cannot find it on little rats when they do theanine. So it is very, very safe. And what it does is it actually does not sedate you.
Just
Like-
have some really relaxed rats.
Yeah, it doesn't sedate you. It actually calms you by changing the brain waves. So it works on the alpha waves of the brain, which actually, when the alpha waves are more active, it makes you more focused and calm. So it's something we thought with the holidays coming up, a lot of people need a little bit of calm. So the theanine is very beneficial for that, and the good thing is it can be taken with any medication.
Yeah.
So it's not one that you have to be careful with certain medications or anything like that.
Okay.
Yep.
We got a question from a viewer. Can you take collagen for bone loss?
Yes, you can.
It'll help. And I'm going to go back and say, if you take collagen and think you're going to make bones grow, you're not. You got to have the K2.
Right, you got to have the K2.
Gotta go back to that
We
K2.
also have something called the bone morphogenic protein, which to me is great. But there is a patented collagen for bone.
Right.
It's called Fortibone. It is not seen very often, but we do have a product. It's called Whole Body Collagen, and it has 3 patented collagens within that. And one of them is the Fortibone,
Right.
and I specifically got it for the Fortibone. You don't see it by itself often. You see it with other things, but the other 2 patented one's for the joints, one's for the skin, and one is for the bone. So we do have that.
Right.
It's called Whole Body Collagen.
And it is good because basically bone is a collagen matrix
Right.
that has calcium and other minerals and stuff in it. And it takes that K2 to make it work.
Yeah. Although that bone morphogenic protein is something I take already, even though I've not had
Yeah.
bone loss because I'm trying to prevent.
And it takes K2 also.
And yes, I take K2 also. I take all the other stuff for bones because I don't want to wait until you have a problem, which is what we always say. And we do
Prevention.
really, and we practice what we
Prevention.
preach.
Oh, yeah,
It is.
prevention, yeah.
We do. And so because, I'm getting to that age, I'm not
I
going
didn't
to
say
wait.
that.
I'm not going to wait until I have the bone loss. I already do it myself, but I also take collagen.
Yeah,
So,
true.
yeah.
We both do.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. What can I take to help keep my heart valves and arteries clean?
K2 and natto.
K2 and nattokinase. And we had a whole show on natto a few weeks ago. Wasn't it?
Yeah, we
a couple
did.
weeks ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And it's up on YouTube. And if you go watch it on YouTube, we've got a lot of good information there. But if you do it on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button. That tells you, we'll give you a notification of anything new coming out. But there's a really neat show. The whole show is about nattokinase. And
It was just a few weeks. You're right. It was just a few
Right,
weeks
it
ago.
was.
Couple weeks ago.
But really, you got to take the K2 with it,
Yes.
and we talked about that
We
even
talked
on the
about
show.
that as well. Mm-hmm.
So the K2 and the nattokinase, great, and there's some really good research out there that backs that up, not just
Yes.
us saying it.
No.
And we have definitely seen people reverse the plaquing in their carotid arteries
Yes.
multiple times.
Yeah.
Now valves, I mean, it's going to keep down plaque.
Well, some of the recent
Mm-hmm.
research that's out on the natto and K2 and so on actually shows reversing of the calcium on
Oh, do they? Okay.
arteries too, but on the valves. But at the same time, it's not an instant thing. It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Take this pill and it goes away overnight. No, it takes time. Took time to get
And it
there.
takes consistency.
Consistency. Yes.
People can say, oh, well, I take it maybe once a week. Well, that ain't going to do it.
No.
I mean, K2's got a 24-hour or
Lifetime.
lifetime. I mean, it does not stay in, even though it's fat soluble, it does not stay in you long term. So you have to do it regularly. That's what I tell everybody. It takes consistency and enough dose to make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. How long does it take to improve lab work for things like cholesterol, glucose, kidneys, etc.?
Well, let's take one thing at a time. Okay, let's take cholesterol. Usually, you can turn cholesterol around 30 days. You can change it quite a bit.
And the longer you take something,
Longer
the
you
better
take
it gets. But
right.
you can see a big difference in 30 days.
3 months for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what usually our rule of thumb is. If you come in and say we do something about your cholesterol, talk to you about diet, maybe some supplementation or whatever to take for it, we're going to say let's recheck it and let's give you 3 months. It gives you time to kind of make that part of your routine to do something good about it. Now, kidney function, that could take years. I mean, it really
Yeah,
can. It took
kidney-
years to get bad. It's going to take a long
Yeah.
time to, it's just going to take a lot of work on your part.
And glucose, you can start changing
yeah.
it, gosh, in a week.
Yeah.
But an A1C, it takes 3 months to see a big difference because of what an A1C is.
Right.
Thyroid takes about a month. Pretty much a month, you're going to get what you're going to get on that dose.
Pretty much.
So again, it just depends on really, but it's not like we're saying years. Now, for reversing plaque, it does take
Yeah.
a
Takes
year.
a while.
I
Takes at
mean, it
least a
could
year.
be 6 months to a year for that. But for those things that we look at lab work and we can see a difference in even vitamin D levels and B12 levels and all that, we usually recheck them at 3 months, and we can actually recheck a lot of stuff at 1 month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. A couple of minutes left. I'm always tired. Nothing has helped. What can y'all do to help?
First thing we do is do some lab work to find out what's causing that problem.
Exactly. Fatigue can be caused by almost everything that we check on lab work.
It could be anemia, it could be B12, it could
It
be,
can.
you name it. I mean, there's so many causes. It could be the adrenal function, it could be thyroid function. What else?
I mean, there's
Thousands of things, really.
Iron deficiency.
Iron deficiency,
It can
yes.
be, I mean, stress hormone being high makes you tired. Stress hormone being low makes you tired. I mean, so either
Well, I've heard people say that, I'm so tired. I need a shot of B12.
B12 don't always help if it's not the problem.
Yeah.
I will say that. It ain't
Yeah.
going to hurt usually.
It's not going to hurt you, that's for sure.
It ain't going to hurt. But if it's not the problem causing the fatigue, it's probably not going to just instantly
Yeah.
be better. Now, if that's the cause, yeah, you can see a difference in a day or two. DHEA, low DHEA can make a big
Yeah.
difference in fatigue.
Way of a
and that
difference.
is called the aging hormone. So as you get older, it goes down, and as it goes down, you get older. So it's kind of one of those things that.
That's why I take it every day.
Exactly.
Why we take it.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we're about to run out of time. Next week,
Next week, we're going to talk about holiday stress. And yes, theanine's one of the things you can do for it, but there's many other things you can do for the stress around the holidays.
okay?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you for joining us this morning. We will see you again next Monday morning. If you want some more information, you can find some things on TV, on Facebook.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.